Welcome to English in Focus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English in Focus, the podcast where we learn English through interesting topics. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sophia. Today we're talking about the future of food in 2026. What exactly is going to be on our plates in the next few years?
It's a fascinating topic, Sophia. The way we grow, buy, and eat food is changing faster than ever before. We have new technologies, environmental challenges, and changing tastes. But before we dive into all of that, I have a question for you.
I had a feeling you would. I'm ready. What's the question today?
Well, later in the show, we're going to talk about alternative sources of protein, and one of those sources is insects. So my question is, how many edible insect species are there in the world? Is it A, around 500, B, around 1,000, or C, over 2,000?
Oh, wow. Well, I know that eating insects is very common in many parts of the world, even if it's less common in Europe or North America. I'll go with the highest number. I think the answer is C, over 2,000.
All right, well, we will find out if you're right at the end of the program. But let's start our main discussion. Why do we even need to change how we produce food? What's wrong with a traditional farm?
That's the big question. Basically, our global population is growing very quickly. We have over 8 billion people on the planet now. Traditional farming requires a huge amount of land and water. Plus, the changing climate makes it harder to grow crops in some regions because of droughts or floods.
Exactly. We have less space, less fresh water, and more mouths to feed. So scientists and farmers have had to get creative. And one of the biggest trends we are seeing everywhere in 2026 is vertical farming.
Yes, vertical farming. I actually saw one of these recently. Instead of growing vegetables in a flat field under the sun, vertical farms grow plants indoors. The plants are stacked in tall towers, one on top of the other, going all the way up to the ceiling.
It looks like something from a science fiction movie, right? They don't use soil and they don't use sunlight. They use special LED lights that give the plants exactly the right type of light to grow.
And the best part is that they use up to 90% less water than traditional farming. Because it's all indoors, the water is recycled, and there are no insects, so they don't need to use harmful chemicals or pesticides. It's incredibly sustainable.
It really is. You can put a vertical farm right in the middle of a big city, which means the food doesn't have to travel thousands of miles to reach the supermarket. It's picked and sold on the same day. But, of course, a salad isn't a full meal for most people. What about meat?
Right. The meat industry is responsible for a huge amount of greenhouse gases, which contribute to global warming. So a lot of focus right now is on alternative proteins. We all know about plant-based burgers. Burgers made from soy or peas that taste like beef. They have been popular for years. But the big news for 2026 is cultivated meat.
Cultivated meat. Sometimes people call it lab-grown meat. This is a very interesting concept. For our listeners who don't know, what exactly is cultivated meat?
Well, to put it simply, scientists take a few cells from a living animal, like a cow or a chicken. The animal isn't hurt. Then they put those cells in a special machine called a bioreactor, give them nutrients, and the cells grow into real meat. It's biologically the exact same thing as chicken or beef, but no animals have to die for it.
It's amazing. A few years ago, it was much too expensive to produce. But now, in 2026, we are starting to see cultivated chicken in high-end restaurants and even a few specialty supermarkets. But here's the real question, Sophia. Would you eat it?
I absolutely would. I think it's a great solution. You get the taste and nutrition of real meat, but with a much lower carbon footprint. What about you, Alex?
I think I would try it. I am a little bit hesitant, just because it feels unnatural to eat meat grown in a factory machine rather than on a farm. But I understand why it's necessary. If the taste and texture are exactly the same, I think people will eventually accept it.
I agree. It will take time for the idea to catch on, but it's the future. Now, speaking of things that are hard to accept, let's talk about those insects from your quiz question.
Deal. There's one more trend I want to mention before we move on to our vocabulary, and that is 3D printed food. This sounds crazy, but it's becoming real.
3D printed food? You mean using a machine to print out your dinner?
Exactly. You load the machine with different fresh ingredients, like vegetable purees, proteins, and carbohydrates. Then the printer creates a meal layer by layer. The incredible thing is that you can connect the printer to your smartwatch. If your watch says you need more iron or vitamin C today, the printer will automatically add more of those nutrients to your meal. Personalized nutrition.
That is mind-blowing. So we've got indoor farming towers, meat grown from cells, invisible insects in our bread, and robot printers making our dinner. The future of food is definitely exciting, even if it feels a little strange right now.
It certainly does. We've talked about a lot of big ideas today. Now it's time for our vocabulary spotlight, where we look at some of the useful English words we used in today's conversation.
Great idea. Let's start with sustainable. We used this when talking about vertical farming. If something is sustainable, it means it can continue for a long time without damaging the environment. Example, using wind power is a sustainable way to generate electricity.
Next, we had cultivated, specifically cultivated meat. To cultivate something means to grow or develop it artificially in a controlled environment. Example, the scientists successfully cultivated the plant cells in the laboratory.
Our third word is squeamish. I said I felt squeamish about eating insects. This is an adjective that means you are easily shocked, disgusted, or made to feel sick by things like blood, insects, or unusual foods. Example, I can't watch horror movies. I'm too squeamish.
Word number 4 is nutritious. This describes food that is full of the natural substances your body needs to grow and stay healthy. Example, nuts and seeds are a very nutritious snack.
Next is the phrase carbon footprint. We said that alternative meat has a lower carbon footprint. This refers to the total amount of greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide, that are produced by human activities. Example, flying less is a good way to reduce your carbon footprint.
Number 6 is a great phrasal verb, to catch on. Sophia said it will take time for lab-grown meat to catch on. This means to become popular or fashionable. Example, I didn't think wireless headphones would be successful, but they quickly caught on.
And our final word is edible. From your quiz question, Alex, edible simply means safe or fit to be eaten. Example, not all mushrooms are edible. Some are highly poisonous.
Excellent! 7 highly useful words for our listeners to practice. Now, let's go back to our quiz question from the beginning of the show. I asked you, how many edible insect species are there in the world? Was it around 500, around 1,000, or over 2,000?
And I guessed C, over 2,000. Was I right?
You are absolutely right, Sophia. The answer is over 2,000. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, there are more than 2,000 insect species that are safe and nutritious for humans to eat, including beetles, caterpillars, and ants.
Wow! Well, I don't think I'll be eating an ant sandwich anytime soon, but it's good to know we have options.
It definitely is. So let's do a quick recap. Today, we explored the future of food. We talked about vertical farming, saving space and water, cultivated meat solving environmental issues, insect protein becoming a smart ingredient, and even 3D printing personalizing our diets.
And we learned some fantastic vocabulary. Sustainable, cultivated, squeamish, nutritious, carbon footprint, to catch on, and edible.
That's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening to English in Focus. Don't forget to practice the new words by writing your own sentences.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Would you eat a 3D printed meal or a cultivated burger? Practice your English by discussing it with a friend. See you next time.
Bye for now.